On this episode of Edge of the Web.
People aren't buying, they're not buying leads from me. I hate the term, I hate the word leads, to be totally honest with you. I talk about projects.
Your weekly digital marketing trends with industry trend-setting guests. You're listening and watching Edge of the Web. Winners of Best Podcast from the Content Marketing Institute for 2017. Hear and see more at edgeofthewebradio.com. Now, alongside Tom Broadbeck, here's your host, Aaron Sparks.
Okay, welcome back to the Edge. Hey, we are broadcasting from Edge Media Studios in downtown Indianapolis, Indiana. Every week, we're bringing you the latest trends in digital marketing as well as marketing influencers. My name is Aaron Sparks. I'm the host of the show as well as CEO of Site Strategics and Edge Media Studios. Thanks for joining us today. Check out all of our recent shows over at edgeofthewebradio.com. That's edgeofthewebradio.com. We're actually powered by Site Strategics, your agile digital marketing pioneers. And if you're interested in what agile marketing is, check out SITE strategics.com. Basically, it's results-based marketing that is adjusting month by month for tactics that are going to win and win regularly for you. So learn all about that over at sitestrategics.com. All right, like I said, I'm your host and founder of Site Strategics, Aaron Sparks. Boy, I actually am talking about myself in the third person. That is freaky. All right, hey, alongside me is also Tom Broadbeck, and he's the director of digital media director. I always stumble upon that. And one of our longest-term employees at Site Strategics, Tom Broadbeck. How you doing, sir?
Good. How you doing?
I'm very good, and I'm talking about myself in third person, so it's going to be probably a regularity in the show from here on out.
Well, Tom does that frequently, so.
Does he now?
Yes.
Oh, very good, very good. How's Tom doing today?
Tom's doing well. I feel like an athlete. You know, just after a game, they're just so into themselves, and they just, LeBron did this today. Not LeBron does that, but
as opposed to George Costanza, Aaron is getting angry.
There you go.
You don't know George Costanza, do you? You don't know Seinfeld.
I mean, I know Seinfeld, but I didn't really watch it growing up. I was a kid.
How old were you when Seinfeld?
Well, it came out in 95.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
95. So I was 10.
Old. Oh my Lord.
Yeah,
I'm an old man. That's foregone conclusion. But hey, it is what it is. By the way, if you've come across our show in the past, we certainly welcome you to go check out all the old videos and audio. I mean, you can check us out at iTunes, podcasts, all the things. But more importantly, hey, we just won an award, and we want to make sure that our audience recognizes that, and we certainly want to give Content Marketing Institute a attaboy for picking this show, right?
Yeah.
So we just received a Best Podcast and Audio Series in the Content Marketing Awards for 2017.
Yeah, it's pretty big deal. We've never submitted to the podcast to an awards show before, but so it was like, if we get nominated, that'd be great. And then you got the email and it was like, you won. I was like, what? Cool. And we beat out. Yeah, there's.
And we both we were like, what?
There's a Slack was nominated. Continental Tire was in there. So past winner, it's been Salesforce.
Yeah, exactly.
Angie's List, Jay Bear, Social Pros.
We're amongst a bunch.
It's a competitive category for sure, and we're lucky enough to be awarded Best of 2017. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty cool.
So thanks to CMA and the Content Marketing Institute for their recognition, and we're certainly looking at possibly transferring over to
Cleveland.
Cleveland, that's right. To go check out what they got going on over there.
Cleveland rocks.
Cleveland does rock. We need it. Now we need the Drew Carey intro going on. Okay, hey, let's introduce a guest who wants to join us in the news here. And this is John Doherty, co-founder of GetCredo.com. How are you doing today?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on, guys. And congratulations on the podcast win. That's awesome.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. And we didn't pay him to say that.
No, I'm getting paid nothing for this.
Are you bucking for something, John?
No, not at all. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're more than welcome. And we certainly want to dig into Credo, but we wanted to bring you on board and talk about some of the news items in our first segment. So first and foremost, if you don't hear us on your podcast listening platform of choice, let us know, because we're also on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, SoundCloud, Podbean, Spreaker, Acast. I don't think we have any other feeds out there, but if we're not where you're listening, just give us a shout, and we'll certainly dial up our show and get it over to that platform. So we did want to let everybody know that this segment is actually brought to you by SEMrush, the world's leading competitive intelligence and keyword research tool, trusted by over 1 million online marketers every day to give them an edge over their competition. So if you want to see where your competitors are advertising online or organically positioned, check out semrush.com/edge of the web radio. Edge of the web, not Edge of the Web Radio.
Correct. Just as a web.
SEMrush. Just read the title card there. semrush.com/edge of the web, and you get a 14-day trial, free trial of the software, and it's fantastic software. John, have you used that SEMrush software before?
I have. I am a longtime subscriber, longtime user. Really like SEMrush. Really, really like the team over there. So
absolutely,
it's a fantastic tool.
And I mean, even with, absolutely. And the expansion of their projects and all of the additional tool sets that they've got in there. Honestly, we're starting to make decisions of just using that as a reporting platform and awareness platform, because they've got it so dialed in. They've really done a huge investment of work over the last couple of years.
Yeah, they've done a fantastic job. I even have their quote unquote lead generation tool, which is basically checks does a high level check of your site's health, your site's SEO health.
Yep.
That is on my homepage on getcredo.com. It's fantastic.
Yeah, That they rolled that out maybe 3 or 4 months ago, 6 months ago, something like that.
6-8 months ago, something like that.
They keep on putting more into it, and it's fantastic. It used to be just a positioning tool, and we'd be looking at other tools to kind of utilize for everything that we do in an agency. But man, are they doing some bang up jobs? All right. Enough about that. Hey, let's take you through the latest digital marketing news.
I was very excited to start my reportings.
This week's trending topics.
Alrighty. So, from Business Insider, article from Mike Shields, Google's been running a secret test to detect bogus ads, and its findings should make the industry very nervous. So tell us about this secret test, Tom.
So we've had a couple programmatic shows here recently, and just for listeners, we had 2 weeks ago, we had Priya Kapoor from Pointit, and Robert Rose had a nice rant about his thoughts on programmatic, and then Maureen Jan had some thoughts on programmatic as well. So I wanted to bring this up because we've had a programmatic kick lately. I'm certainly not an expert in programmatic, but there's been some fraudulent ads that have been rumored about in the programmatic space. So I'll just read here from the article. Google's been doing tests with media companies such as CBS and NBC to gauge how bad the problem is, and they're banking on a new technical solution that they're going to call ads.text to tackle the issue. And so the way it kind of sounds like the ads.text is kind of like a robots.text that publishers can put on their website. There's a link here in the article. We'll put it in the show notes as well to, the IAB, iabtechlab.com/ads-text, and that shows you how you can set up an ads.text file for your website. But basically, it'll give Google and all these companies, it'll provide them the permission to sell ads on your website. So basically what's happening is these providers that are selling the ads are selling for like CNN.com and CBS, but they don't have permission to.
All right.
So they're selling ads for CBS.com, and you think you're buying ads for CBS.com, but they're appearing on XYZ.com,
just pushing
whatever.
It everywhere. So they're just taking your money and putting it anywhere and giving you any type of. So they're basically just selling the brand.
Yeah.
And
it's what they call spoofing.
So
they're trying to tackle the spoofing epidemic here with this new ads.txt format.
All right. So for all of our programmers, especially the marketers that are exercising in programmatics, you want to make sure that so there's going to be an additional authentication for ad delivery, making sure that those that files there as part of the programmatic universe.
Yeah, it's still new, so I mean there's still probably be some kinks stuff with it. So, but yeah, so the ads.text is going to be coming for programmatic. So I thought we would throw that out there for since we've kind of been on that little kick of late with our shows.
Yep, absolutely. So, John, programmatics, what are your thoughts, especially with the fraud detection that was written about here?
Yeah, I have a few thoughts on it. I mean, from a high level, from a very like search ecosystem kind of perspective, it's interesting to me that Google is kind of taking the lead here because they're one of the biggest advertising companies online. Like all their money is from advertising, right? Basically, everything else is in the red, and advertising just prints them cash. So it's interesting to me that they're taking this on. I mean, it seems like they should have a place in it for sure, a huge voice. But leading it up makes me a little bit nervous. I mean, I'm not a programmatic guy. 98% of the work that I do is on the organic side. So like, I don't know a ton about programmatic. I obviously know what it is and all of that, but this does definitely seem like a huge issue. And as a business owner, as someone that does do, some ad buying and that sort of thing for my own business, I wouldn't want to be buying, ad space on CNN or wherever, and then it's actually going on some like super low quality, clickbait site, right? It does seem like marketplaces have a big role to play here. And this article doesn't say anything about, these exchanges cracking down on this sort of thing, but it seems like there are a lot of bad actors there, and the marketplaces need to take some responsibility for it as well.
No, I think you're absolutely right there. You're seeing, and just like every kind of new venture in digital marketing, you have that bobble, and it regulates itself eventually. And I mean, AdWords.
Think about SEO 15 years ago.
I know. Yeah. And
now we're here and in a much better place, and it's all good.
Absolutely. Let alone AdWords and all the other areas. I had to figure it itself out. You're just hoping that. I think you're also seeing exponential adjustments now happening even more quickly as these different types of medium come to market. So we have full confidence that will rectify itself soon. All right, from Search Engine Journal, we got from Matt Southern, who's always a great contributor to the Search Engine Journal. Survey shows users prefer AMP content over regular content. Oh, really? All right, let's dig in here. A survey from 9 to 5 Google suggests users prefer accelerated mobile pages, the AMP pages, over regular content. The survey poses one question: are you more inclined to click on an AMP link rather than a regular one? Now that's something different. Clicking on the link does not mean digesting the content of the AMP page. I want to be darn clear right there. So if they're posing one question there, and nearly 1,500 respondents at this time of the writing, over 50% said, yes, I prefer the stripped down versions of websites when reading something. Other responses include, no, if I want to read something, I will open the link, whether it's AMP or not, 24%. No, I prefer loading the entire website, 13%. Yes, but only when my device is using mobile data and I don't want to load a full website, 9%, and 2% other. Okay, so I guess if you do a survey, you want to make sure that the question you're asking is actually the question you're asking. So if I'm going to click on a piece of content, right? And that AMP, you also have the AMP display in the carousel as well from a news item.
Correct.
So visually, there's a heck of a lot less busy environment. And guess what? That AMP content is being pulled into the carousel where other news content is not, because it's not AMP.
Correct.
Isn't that a bit self-serving?
It is.
So John, I'm going to tee it up to you on the AMP, because I know Tom's feelings about AMP. What do you think?
I have an interesting relationship with AMP. I mean, as a search professional, on the one side, I like it because it's supposed to load quicker. Load time has been shown time and time again that for every second you lose some percentage of, visitors and revenue.
Sure.
It's also, speaking of your site, has been shown to help rankings as well, and Google's pushing it really hard. So like you could get more traffic that way. As a user, I like it when it works, but I've seen so many bugs with it. Like I go to, I cook at home with my wife and I'm on my phone, and, I go and I'll load up like all recipes or something like that. And half the time it doesn't even work. Like I can't even expand, for example, all the ingredients I need to put into whatever dish that I'm making. And I have to go and find like the link to the main site and all that. Like I actually find myself being way more frustrated by it than it being a good use. But I, like all other users, prefer things, on the internet when they're fast, especially on my phone, especially when I'm using data.
Okay.
So yeah, I kind of have mixed feelings about it. And I kind of agree that like the question is preferring stripped down versions of websites. You could also argue that like the mobile version of a website is a stripped down version of the desktop site, and so they're not really talking about AMP here. So I think it's a little bit misleading. But I'm not faulting anyone, but I'd love to actually see a survey of people that actually know what AMP is, and not just search professionals. Educate them about it first, and then have them go through and actually see like what they click on and and all of that, or like do it at kind of a blind study or whatever. I think that would be interesting and a real value add to the industry.
Absolutely. You got to be careful about what you ask, because you can certainly get a lot of data that maybe you didn't intend for, but it's coming through as a bit of a misunderstanding. But hey, that's our 2 cents, right? All right, from TechCrunch, Facebook's groups for pages unlocks fan clubs. This is from John Constine. Tom, tell us about that article.
So with Facebook's newest feature, a musician can run an on-site fan club. A brand could organize its ambassadors, and a newspaper could discuss articles with just its top readers. So Facebook's announced globally the groups for pages, allowing 70 million pages on Facebook to create their own distinct communities and feeds. So it just looks like it's just another way for Facebook to kind of keep that ecosystem within Facebook, rather than letting people outside create it. So Facebook first quietly tested the feature in March, but they announced the feature rollout today. Blah, 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 Washington Post. It says the launch could further Facebook's mission to bring the world closer together, push it toward its goal to grow the membership of meaningful groups from 100 million now to 1 billion in the future. So they have, in that article, they have a nice little screenshot of how to set it up and how it will look in your Facebook page. So,
Killer. Yep. Very cool. Very cool. All right. So Facebook, John, what do you think about these groups?
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what it means, for businesses. It's another thing for community managers and such to, to actively be on. It could be really good because a lot of businesses don't have forums. That's basically what this is. It's a forum.
Yeah.
I wonder. So it could work. I don't know many people that really like want to be engaged with, brands in that way. But if it's like other people that also like that brand, could be a good thing.
Yeah,
if I was next door to someone like that, I'd be a bit scared. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what the adoption is like, and it'll be interesting to see what marketers do as well, right? I could see a lot of marketers being smart about it and doing like paid Facebook communities and that sort of thing, right? Like some do like paid Slack groups. So something to think about. Could be an opportunity.
Absolutely. It really will have to match that brand and what that niche is. Yeah, it's not going to be for everybody, but I think.
But it could be awesome for the mommy bloggers and, help them out with the organic reach that they've lost. And, our industry, the digital marketing industry, is super active on Facebook, way more active now than 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It'll be cool to see what happens.
Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, very good. All right. So there's the news for this week on Edge of the Web. You know what? If you didn't catch this, which was kind of weird because if you are listening, you already caught it. But if you didn't catch it, or a friend that didn't catch that, send them to edgeofthewebradio.com and sign up for the newsletter. The newsletter is free of charge, and we're packaging up all this good quality content. And on top of that, a bit of a focus on who we interviewed and who we're going to be interviewing. And it just kind of lays out the week of Edge of the Web. So if you want to join, just go ahead and text with your smartphone to the number 22828, the word Edge Talk, and you can join right there. It's that easy. Go ahead and do it, just not when you're driving, please. All right. And on top of it, you can also just go to the website and do it the traditional way.
That's right. And there's a nice little pop-up right there for you.
There is a nice little pop-up.
It's got your face on it.
Ah, see? You can even talk to me right off the website. I'm bouncing around everywhere. Is that kind of creepy, isn't it?
It can be.
Okay, fine. Who's not creepy? John Doherty's not creepy. And we're going to deep dive into this week's topic with John Doherty and talk about Get Credo. Let's go now.
Now it's time for Edge of the Web featured interview with John Doherty, founder of Credo.
There's John. How about that for a nice intro, huh?
I feel super cool right now. I got to be honest. I've never had that done for me before. That was freaking sweet.
See, you're not creepy. See, that's a great intro. Well, you know what? You can always do that for your ringtone and what have you. We'll break it up so you. Oh, maybe it shouldn't be his ringtone. It should be somebody else's ringtone.
I put it on my wife's phone.
Yeah,
Whenever I call it.
See, we'll share the deep voice guy with you. Well, John, for our listeners, John Doherty is a founder of Credo, which helps companies connect with the right digital marketing agency or consultant. With over 7 years of digital marketing experience, John has worn a lot of different hats throughout his career. Some of his past work experience includes Hotpads, Trulia Rentals, and Distilled. Fantastic bio there. Let's hear a little bit more about your backstory before Credo.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Some things about me. So basically my background is, so I was trained as a web developer back in university. I went to James Madison University in Virginia, where I'm from. I now live in Denver, Colorado, but I was trained as a technical writer and a web developer, front-end web developer. And then did a bunch of things. I was a technical support specialist. I actually lived in a hippie commune in Switzerland for 2 years and helped run a book publishing company from there, 2009, 2010. And that's kind of where I got the entrepreneurial bug and, and actually got into SEO because I was publishing English language books, living in French speaking Switzerland, bootstrap company, me and the founder, and had no budget to travel. So I found, I threw up a Joomla site and started blogging and figured out how to create search engine.
But your first blog was not help get me out of this hippie commune, was it?
No, it was not. No, I actually, that was 2 of the best years of my life.
Fantastic, awesome. Fantastic.
Yeah, so I was helping run that business and then moved back to the States, got my first job in SEO, first official job. So I started doing SEO 2008, 2009-ish. First official job was starting September, October 2010, working for an agency in Philadelphia, worked there about a year, went to Distilled. In New York, was there for 2.5 years, worked with everyone from seed stage tech startups all the way up to some of the biggest like hotel and travel chains, content sites in the world, which is awesome. Realized I really love enterprise SEO and enterprise marketing. So I ended up going in-house and I led marketing at hotpads.com, which is owned by Zillow Group, built out a team there. And then I was on Trulia Rentals for about 5 or 6 months. I love working with large websites. Even now, I still have 2 of my own consulting clients. And basically, if someone has less than 1 million pages on their website, I don't even consider it for consulting for them.
Wow.
I love large websites like that. It's my bread and butter. I can do it in my sleep. And I really enjoy those kind of big company, big like technical, problems. And then actually I started Credo in its first incarnation. It was called Hire Gun, February-ish of 2013. Because I had friends that were hiring bad agencies, and I got tired of them hiring bad agencies and wanted to send work to my friends that had started their own agencies that were doing great work. And so I started doing that, literally started it on a Google spreadsheet, and started sending work to people, and then had a friend that he runs an agency in Utah still. Shout out to Brandon at Wallaroo Media. And I pinged him and was like, hey man, I just got this lead in. I think it'd be perfect for you. Would you be willing to pay $50 for it? He's like, yeah, what's your PayPal? So 3 minutes later, I had $50 in my PayPal account, sent him the intro, he closed the business, and I went and bought a domain name and threw up a, pretty bad WordPress website. So it kind of ticked along for a couple of years while I went in-house, and then I actually got laid off end of September 2015. Had just gotten back from a vacation, and on Sunday, I got laid off on Monday, and basically decided that night that I wanted to work for myself, told my wife that, and she's like, well, you have 3 months of severance, give it a go, right? Like basically you need to, pay your half of our bills. You're living in San Francisco at the time. You need to pay your half of our bills, make it happen. And so I woke up Tuesday morning, about the same time as I normally did, listened to Eminem's Lose Yourself, and got down to work. So it'll be 2 years. What's today? July 25th that we're recording this. It'll be 2 years on September 28th. It'll be 2 years of working for myself.
Oh, very cool. I mean, that's always the go-to song for inspiration. It absolutely is.
I love it. I listen to it a few times a week, and I've actually said that if I ever get to speak at a conference where I get to pick my intro music, that's going to be the song.
Mom Spaghetti.
So yep. That's right.
Well, if I'd have known that, I would have not used that song I chose for your intro. I would have used You Lose Yourself. Right? Yeah, there we go. Fix it in post.
Well, that's actually, I mean, a perfect story of entrepreneurism and startup concepts, especially in this day and age. I mean, just shake it off. He had 3 months of runway to be able to do this. Thank you. That's a perfect analogy there.
There
And literally you were able to take off and just move it. And we now have such a low threshold of startup opportunity. You can get things going as long as you got some willpower and skills to be able to do it. I mean, the cost of entry now is no longer unattainable, and we can actually get in there and start tearing it up. So congrats to you. So you've been doing Get Credo for 3 years now?
2 years. 2 years into September.
Very cool. Very cool. So how has how has your site supported freelancers and agencies? How many do you have on deck now with you?
So right now I have about 80 agencies and consultants live on the platform. That number kind of goes up and down depending on, some people, I'll fill them up with work and they don't need to have any more work. So they'll get off for a couple months and then come back. And, but I definitely have a good crew of, consistent ones. So at this point, I've sent somewhere around $5 million worth of work to agencies and consultants in the last 2 years.
Fantastic.
Growing every month. Right now, we're averaging, like summer months, we're averaging anywhere from 350 to 450. Highest month so far has been 600,000 in a month. Goal by the end of the year is to send $1 million of work in a month to agencies and consultants on my platform. So it's grown really, really well. Mm-hmm. It's been quite the journey. I've done a ton of stuff on the site. I've very much taken iterative approach to it. Just last week, I rolled out a huge SEO related update, which I'm really excited to see starting to work and, converting better and all of those things. So, I've learned a ton personally and also been able to, send my friends that run agencies a lot of work and also help a lot of businesses that are just looking for a little bit of help figuring out, like, what do we need? Who should we hire? How much should we expect to pay? All of that stuff. I've gotten to help out over 1,000 businesses now, which is really cool.
And that right there is something I really wanted to unpack, because it's about this market, about this industry. I mean, digital marketing, it really does have a lot of the bleed over stigma from SEO now. In a particular manner is that there's so many. Talk about the low threshold of entry. It has to do with the low threshold of entry into digital marketing, and so many practitioners that don't have to prove themselves. They just spin words. They'll make a nice presentation, and there's no merit. There's no background to what they've been able to accomplish for other companies, let alone they're an accreditation environment to be able to really vet individuals in this space, right?
Yep. Totally. Yeah, there are a lot of bad actors in the industry, unfortunately. And like I said, that's exactly why I started it. And everyone that's on our platform, they have to apply to be on it. And we see a couple of their clients. I take them through SEMrush, Ahrefs, Open Site Explorer, name your tool of choice, make sure they're going in the right direction. And then I've actually personally spoken on the phone with every single person that's on my platform. So I vetted them quantitatively. Can they actually do the work? And I vetted them qualitatively. Are they actually good to talk to on the phone? And then learn more about the tactics that they use and all of that. I turn away about 30% of the people that want to be on the platform. And that's also, I've purposely constrained it. I only bring on, I only list people that are in right now, US, UK, and Canada and Australia. So I have it constrained to those 4 countries. And then I speak to people on the phone. And basically, if I'm not totally comfortable with sending them clients, then I don't put them on the platform.
That's fantastic, and you certainly did find the gap, and the gap is a lack of education or understanding about digital marketing tactics for firms and companies are looking for that. But on top of that, realizing that there is the opportunity to be able to vet and be able to clean up the potential recipients, the potential receivers of those let's say those projects. So you're dealing with 2 different communities at the same time. Yeah, so you're starting to build a great wealth of business opportunity for the entrepreneurs and those agencies, but you're also a utility for companies that are needing that little bit of additional sage advice, right?
Totally. Yeah. And we do a lot of education. I do a lot of, this sort of thing, but then also, talking about how to vet people, how to vet agencies. I did a big pricing study back in February. I released it. So almost 6 months ago, where I had 184 agencies and consultants basically tell me how they price work hourly rates, all that sort of thing, and publish this big piece. So that's kind of become like the canonical go-to place where like when someone's trying to determine how much should I pay for, SEO, okay, if I go with an agency, a big agency, they can be about the same price as someone with 2 years of experience of, SEO experience. But if I go with someone that's solo that has 10 years, I'm going to be paying twice as much. Right. So, so kind of trying to help people ballpark how much they should expect. It's not $20 an hour. You also there are people that charge $500,000 an hour, but like most businesses don't need to hire them, right? Like it's gonna be the big ones of the world that hire them, and they're priced that high for a reason. So really trying to help the industry kind of level up, not only people determining how much they should pay, because most small businesses have no idea how much they're going to pay, how much they should pay. I actually have learned that recently and made some changes on my site to kind of allow for that. And we have a pretty high touch approach. We talk with everyone that's looking to hire someone before we even put their project live on the platform or introduce them to agencies and consultants. But then also helping agencies and consultants charge what they're worth. Because so many are too hungry to eat. The top 10% are making all the money, and the long tail is too hungry to eat. They're slogging it out for clients that are paying them way too much and are abusing them. And that's not a good deal for anybody.
No, so you're really putting together an ecosystem into itself, and I don't use. I know there's a cliche there, but I mean honestly, that's what you're doing.
Yeah, it is.
It's fantastic, and it's great to be able to be that authority out there, because we need that stability of perspective of what to pay and what hourlies are, because you'll have East Coast, West Coast, and Midwest ranges, and it's not all about how much you pay; it's about that quality of skill. It really is.
So before we move on, I wanted to ask from the not the agency consultant side, but what a business, what can they expect from you? Like the process of onboarding with Credo, do they have to fill out some sort of survey? Because we get a lot of people who are just like, I need digital marketing, but they're not specific on, they don't know what they need. So do you help them kind of narrow that down?
Yeah, totally. So it's actually changed in the last few weeks, which has been really interesting to see. So previously I had this started off as an 8-step form where, I'd ask for one piece of information, kind of taking them down the line of, what services they need and what budget they have or what they want to pay, and, whether they want to work with an agency or consultant, all these different things. And then through talking to, doing my own customer research, talking to small businesses, I'd be like, well, how much do you have to pay for SEO? And they're like, well, I don't know. How much should I expect to pay? So I've actually changed it. I've trimmed down the form, have them say what their main need is. So like Facebook ads or SEO, right? So they say that, give us their contact information, and then what their overall marketing budget is. And so off of that, we can, kind of figure out, okay, they're probably going to have about this much to spend. And then they fill out that form, they submit it, and then they schedule a phone call with us. And I have an account manager named Eric, who's fantastic. He hops on the phone with them 15 to 30 minutes, learns more about their business, what they need, what they're dealing with. And then, basically helps them figure out, do they just need SEO? Are they doing anything with Facebook ads? Is that of interest to them? And then he puts that project into the platform, actually fills out that same form I was having them fill out, and then either introduces them personally to some agencies and consultants, or sets it live on the platform, and then it gets emailed out to people that do that kind of work within that kind of budget. And they can contact them through the platform, and then take the conversation from there. So we don't take a cut of closed projects. It's free to the businesses that are looking to hire, and the agencies and consultants are the ones that pay us, right? But of course, they're vetted before they're even allowed to pay.
Sure.
So it works out well on all sides.
Well, that sounds fantastic, and you're certainly going to be continuing to be trusted in your space. Are there other competitors in your market that are doing just this?
There are some that are doing it I definitely have SERP competitors, right? I have people that are outranking me, which I'm constantly, taking on,
sure.
Much more proactively now. But there's no one that's doing it in the same way. There are people that are, gathering reviews and listing information, but it's more like a directory, and, then they pop them over to the agency site, and the agency, does, tries to convert them to their site. As far as I know, no one else is taking this high touch approach. Mostly because people that do this sort of thing want the fully automated passive income sort of thing. And I could do that as well. And honestly, I was starting in that direction and basically realized that that's not where the market need is. So I want to hit the market need, and, I'll build a company around it to serve that market need. You're
taking a little bit more time in the vetting, but it's paying off in that level of authenticity and quality that people need. People need to trust somebody, and you're
Exactly.
I use this phrase regularly here in the organization. You're a Sherpa. You're actually helping them go up the mountain and be able to figure out how to get there, right?
Yeah. People often call Credo the Match.com of digital marketing. I prefer to think of it as like a high quality matchmaker. This doesn't really like work usually, but I often ask people if they read like the magazines in the back of airline seats. Always this company advertising called It's Just Lunch, where they're a high quality white glove matchmaker.
Right.
That's how I think of Credo.
For some odd reason, all I have now is Fiddler on the Roof. So thanks a lot for the matchmaker reference. Okay. Harmony. All right, stop. Well, no, that's fantastic. I want to ask you a little bit and deep dive into a bit of a concept that you communicated to us in our pre-show screening regarding your article that you just posted regarding cost per lead issues and your thought that you should not base your marketing investment decisions off of a cost per lead in the B2B space. Why would you say that?
Yeah, so I wrote that article, quite honestly, out of frustration because I've had, some people be like, we need to get our cost per lead from your, this site is hitting this. And so we need to get it down to that, to make, your site work for us or whatever. And I quite simply don't play that game. So when you think about true lead generation, and I'd like to thank my friend Kenny for kind of putting me in my place with this. True lead generation is basically you gather the information, you give it to someone, and then you're out and you basically get paid like per lead, right? So that's a very mathematical thing. It takes you $30 to generate the contact information. You sell it for $100, you make $70 profit. Math. It's different in my space where, people they're not buying leads from me. I hate the term, I hate the word leads, to be totally honest with you. Like I talk about projects, I'm finding people these are real projects. These are people this is Jim at, this real estate company that needs to grow his real estate business in Denver that he has, 5 other people and needs to get them more people looking to sell their homes. Right. So through SEO, he needs to rank better for Denver real estate and high Denver real estate and what have you. So I'm making the connection. I'm not selling the lead. So, when people come to me and they're like, we need to get 20 leads for this, $375 or whatever, to hit our, whatever cost per lead that we need to hit. I'm like, yeah, but so you can pay me that, you can try to get, a lead from me for $20 and from this same other guy as well. But are mine closing? If mine are closing 3 times as well, you should be willing to pay 3 times as much.
There it is.
Right? Look at the return, look at the dollar amount that you're making for your spend. I get it. You've greatly scaled your business. If you're paying 10 grand a month and let's say you're getting 50 potential projects coming in. If you could pay that 10 grand a month and get 100 of the same quality, you absolutely should do that. But, most businesses are not at that point. So I was really railing against when it's a more high touch kind of sales, model, quit putting in this arbitrary, we need to get a, contact information for $20. If you're getting, a full project brief that's basically already pre-sold on you, you should be willing to pay 5 times as much for that. And some people just don't get that, which frustrates me, but I can also choose basically to not work with them. So I didn't get into this, I didn't start working for myself to, be beholden to the, to the whims of others that I disagree with. So
no, but it's worthwhile exploring this because this is absolutely where digital marketing needs to go. It can't be just a CTR, or I should say just a CTA. It can't be scrutinized to that degree because what you're doing is losing the quality of the persuasion model out of it. I mean, the fact of the matter, if they just fell into the bucket because of a sidelong visit, it's a whole different type of quality of lead than the 12 touches that you had from email, PPC, social, and SEO, right? I mean, there's a heck of a lot of larger net that you're bringing in here, and you can't just match one tactic to 7 tactics and have an equitable discussion there,
or one budget.
Right.
People say oh yeah, I got this click from Facebook for $5, so it's a $5 CPA. I'm like, no, they encountered you on another site that you had to pay someone to do the outreach to get that content there. Right. You had to write the content, you had to do the outreach for that content, you had to pay for the ads, you had to invest in SEO, right? There are so many different expenses going in there. who knows what the true CPA is?
Yeah.
It'd be good to know that, to get, better analytics on that. I know some companies are definitely working towards that, but watching those numbers as a hard number, and we have to do this for $20, like, it just, that doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for the industry. Like, are you okay? You're paying $200. How much money are you making? You're making 2,000. Okay. That's a 10x return on that, on that spend right there.
Yeah.
That's great. And it's much easier for a platform like mine, right? Like, I paid $500 and I got, 10 projects and I closed 5 of them and I'm billing $10,000 worth of work. Like, it's much easier. They're not like paying multiple like levels of payment, to me. So it's much cleaner than a full like multi-channel approach. But yeah, that's why I wrote that. I was quite simply just frustrated with those conversations, and kind of just wanted to, put my, draw a line in the sand and say, like, this is where I stand on this. And this is where Credo stands on it. And I'm not gonna make apologies for
it. Don't. Here's to you, man. And that's the type of evangelism that we need inside of digital marketing, because it just can't be, honestly, as much as we are analysts, I should say, and work at these metrics. There's something much more valuable as you have this omni-channel approach. You just can't square up like that, and that's a lack of education from the consumer side, trying to fit a mold that doesn't really work in a reply. No, that's fantastic. And
we're taking it from the, they're doing true lead generation for their clients, right? And they are actually selling them leads, right? So they do have to get a $20, get a lead for $20 across all the different channels that they're doing, so they can sell it to their client for 50 and make that, make that percentage. Like, that totally makes sense.
Yep.
100% makes sense. But when you're generating potential new clients for a services-based business, it falls down.
No, absolutely does. Well,
you know what? You run an agency. You know exactly.
Absolutely, trust me. And we
to the choir here.
We don't want to fence with our clients as much as sometimes we do. But I mean, the point is that we all understand that a larger budget, a larger aperture of tactics provide a much better quality result as well. So it's also not in the same. It's not the same game.
And the full funnel approach, right?
Yep. No, you're absolutely right. So let me ask you, as you're at you got a particular vantage point of watching some of the marketing firms that work with you, right? Or they work inside of your organization. Are you seeing any trends, any particular types of executions within that 80 agency sampling that they're starting to move towards over the period of time that you've been rolling with GetCredo.com? Are you seeing certain successes for the projects that are coming through your system, and if they're leaning towards certain types of tactics or bringing some new innovations?
Well, not even tactics necessarily. I am seeing some agencies that have been pure organic search agencies moving into paid, especially paid social and promotion, content promotion via paid social.
Got it.
I'm seeing a lot more agencies do that, because I'm seeing a lot more projects coming through that are asking for Facebook ads and that sort of thing. I think these agencies, even though some of them were partnered with, really good paid search, paid social agencies, the potential client wanted one agency to do all the things for them. And you can't fault them for that, right? But there is an increase, in the past it was okay, you had to be doing SEO. And then it's, okay, now you have to be doing AdWords. And now it's, if you're not doing Facebook ads, you're basically behind, right? And there are other ad platforms coming up as well. But I'm seeing a lot more of that for sure. And as I said, a lot more businesses just looking for, Facebook ads help as well. At the same time, there are still a lot of business owners that are tell me about this SEO thing. So, there's still definitely that need there. I think one that I'm really going to be watching over the next couple of years is conversion rate optimization. It's one of those, I think I still rank #1 for conversion rate optimization consultants, CRO consultants. That's kind of in advance of, I think a lot more people are going to realize, people are just now really getting serious about driving more traffic and more qualified traffic to their site, which they're going to say, okay, we're driving all these visitors, but we're not converting them to phone calls, form contacts, etc.
Right.
And we're going to see a lot more of that sort of thing taking place over the next couple of years. So that's the one area that I'm really watching. I'm by no means saying SEO is dead or AdWords is dead or Facebook ads are dead, but it's, once again, it's that full funnel, the next step down the road that business owners are going to start understanding more and more. Okay, we're paying for all this traffic. Let's actually make more money off of that traffic.
You know, that's an astute observation, because if with any savvy business owner, right, you're literally, it's not about the amount of traffic that you're getting, it's about what you're doing with that traffic. And I mean, just like if you're going through an expense sheet, and just so happens I was doing that earlier today. But I mean, it's making the most out of what you have, and as soon as you have that model cleaned up, then it's scalable with that, you know, that level of conversion. But if you're not paying attention to the conversion rates, you're really wasting a lot of money just throwing traffic at it. You know, I mean, it makes perfect sense, and that maturity needs to constantly be embraced by businesses that are hiring marketing professionals, is that you just can't try out tactics and go explore outside of the domain. You got to make sure that mousetrap is getting the conversions that you're looking for out of it. Otherwise, you shouldn't be doing this to begin with.
Yep, totally.
Huh.
Is there a trend, you were talking about the marketing side, is there a trend that you're seeing from businesses and what they want?
Well, as I said, there a lot more are taking Facebook seriously. Another one that a lot of people have kind of gotten bought into is basically building a community. There are a lot more like, Facebook pages, and people are still like really investing in those, and then figuring out smart ways to, drive traffic there by email and all that sort of thing. So, there are a lot of entrepreneurs that, are more digitally, people like myself that are more digitally savvy, that, they're using a combination of Facebook groups, their email lists, and Instagram is what people are doing. I'm seeing more businesses starting to think about that as well, as Instagram has grown so well. So I think that's gonna be an interesting space to watch. But there are still a lot of businesses that are just like, we need blogs. I'm like, blog posts? Okay, like blog posts. You have a blog, you need blog posts. And then they're like, we just need 500 words of content 3 times a week. And I'm like, why? Right? So there's still that education piece that needs to happen. And there have been some people that have written some really good stuff about that recently. I plan to write more about that as well myself, just more of that education. But, the SMB market is so fractured. You got to be really consistent getting on Content Marketing Institute or, those sorts of places, Content Marketing World, or speaking at those conferences to really like kind of hammer that point home and keep like, saying it 4 or 5, 6 times. Feel like you're going crazy, but that's how you really like communicate it.
Yeah, you have to. And, companies need more and more podcasts and live casts as well. I just want to make sure that that's out there. I mean, it needs to be wash, rinse, and repeat on that one.
Yeah, I mean, Pat Flynn of Smart Passive Income just launched a product about how to launch your own podcast. Super, super smart. I mean, I don't know Pat. He's a really smart guy. I follow his stuff and respect him a lot. And I'm sure, his podcast has done really well. I'm sure he's going to be doing a phenomenal job at teaching other people how to do it as well. Absolutely. I think we're kind of in the golden age of podcasting right now. It's definitely been a resurgence, and I think, you guys are capitalizing on it. Like, that's, good for you.
Thank you. Yeah, especially if you want to utilize superb technology, go to a studio that actually is doing it regularly. There's a gratuitous plug. Anyway, hey, I did want to pinpoint one more thing about your observations about marketing tactics. We're coming across something in more enterprise level companies and engagements that's interesting, is where instead of the omni-channel approach of one firm that's doing so much, that's like we were talking about, we're seeing those CMOs specialty hire. They're actually going the inverse. They're actually going, now that's a bit of a trial on them to be able to manage all those players, but they're actually going after SEM, SEO, and really deep diving to those specialties. And we're seeing that in a number of different proposals and engagements that we're looking at. Have you come across that particular pattern yet?
Totally. So I was talking about this. So I work with a PR consultant who's fantastic. And we were discussing this about a month ago. She calls it the hub and spoke model. So there are a lot of, as you said, CMOs that they'll have a small, team of marketers, but basically project managers that, they know some about SEO and some about AdWords and that sort of thing, but then they're going and they're basically like, so they're the hub, and then each one is finding an agency or consultant or a group of agencies and consultants to work with, to execute on, whether it's AdWords or content or whatever. Seeing that a lot. And it'll be really, I don't know yet how it's going to shake out between the like special, hyper specialized agencies, right? Like the conversion rate agencies or content marketing agencies, or the more full service agencies. right now, from what I've seen, it's kind of 50-50 which one they sign with.
No, it's worthwhile observation. It is a benefit whenever it comes down to the CMO because they're not dealing with one engagement, one company. It's a lot easier to unplug that particular cog as opposed to having to find an entire agency if you're not liking their services. But at the same time, everybody's got to play well together. So now you have all these agencies and individuals that have to invest in knowledge transfer between the agencies because you have to know what the other players are doing.
Right. That is the challenge. And honestly, I think that makes it like that is one challenge of the hub and spoke model where, I've always told my enterprise clients, like SEO and PPC have to be talking. PPC doesn't tell us that like these keywords are ranking amazingly and we don't even have pages for those keywords, right? Because we've been doing all this other stuff, right? So like those have to be talking. Imagine if like your SEO guy is sitting in Denver and your AdWords girl is sitting in, Southern California and they've never met each other and you're based in New York. Like it's going to be tough. I think a lot of businesses are figuring out how to do the remote thing. I mean, my team is remote. My wife works for Trello. They're 60, 70% remote. I know some other huge companies that are fully remote, but a lot of businesses are not set up that way. So it'll be interesting to see how that kind of happens over the next few years. Plus hiring in-house is hard and it's expensive. So,
and that's again where your firm comes into play because you have that type of vetting. Have you thought about this type of hub and spoke model inside your organization? Not that you want to be a PM. I'm just saying having these type of relationship connections between the different agencies to be able to go after a project in tandem as opposed to individual pitching of companies.
For sure. So that's definitely something that I've thought about. And I think I don't know if y'all are familiar with Crew. Crew.co is their domain. They were acquired by Dribble a few months ago, and fantastic group of people there. I know some of the founders, and that's basically what they were doing for the design and development space. So someone would come and say like, I need an app built, and they like, here's your design, and they talk to them about what the project was. Here's your designer, here's your development firm, and like kind of bring them all together and act somewhat as the project managers. It's a really interesting model. For sure. And I think something that's needed. So, it's definitely, something I've thought about. I've also thought about like, literally yesterday in the shower, I was like, I could build an agency. And I was like, I don't want to build an agency. There's so many different ways to do it. I have a lot of friends that build agencies. I actually wrote a blog post about why I'm not building an agency. But there's a lot of different ways, that you could go. And I think there are needs in all those different directions. There are plenty of directories out there. I never wanted to be a directory. I'm not going to, Credo is not going to be a directory.
Right.
Talked to someone else today that's going to build a directory of SEO providers. I'm like, good luck. Why?
That was done a decade ago.
Yeah, for sure. So,
no offense.
We'll see where it goes. But it's definitely an interesting way to think about it. It would be a different business, but definitely, we basically have to like pre-sell the projects, price it out for them, do all of that sort of thing. And it'd kind of be like being an outsourced agency where like you sell the work and then you bring the people together.
No offense to your friend. I mean, it has its place, but literally, it's a challenge if you step into the ring of negotiating communication. I mean, there's a much higher risk in that space, and the reward's got to be there as well. Obviously,
it's a very different business.
Yeah, you better believe it. You better believe it. Well, John, it's been a pleasure today. Hey, can we ask you real quick just to wrap up? What excites you about your industry right now?
To be quite honest with you, I'm excited that especially the SEO industry has really grown up in the last 2 to 3 to 4 years.
Amen.
It used to be so tactics driven. So how do we trick Google? And now everyone's talking about building real businesses. And I love that, especially having, been building my own business for the last 2 years. It's like, I obviously 100% believe in the power of inbound marketing, but like, man, there's so much more that goes into building a business, and SEO and inbound marketing is can be a big piece of that puzzle. But like, if you just concentrate on that, then you're missing the whole beautiful, puzzle for like a couple little edge pieces, or even like the center, right? It could be like the middle of it, but you're missing everything else that's necessary. So I love that our industry has grown up a lot, and it's just been a lot more fun to be in, honestly. That's what excites me about the industry, and also seeing like I've seen a lot of people recently that were working in-house, working for an agency or something, and have gone out and have started their own. and are doing really well at it. I love that entrepreneurial bent of our industry.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to do what I can to make them more successful as well.
You know, we talked in the beginning of the show regarding kind of some of the low threshold of entry now for startups.
Yeah.
Are you aware of any support system for these startup companies, because they can start up so quickly and so easily? Yeah. But part of it is also they have the ability to burn out so quick compared to some more traditional paths of startup that you have to, you know, earn so many different stripes before you can actually get public and get national. Yeah, you know, there's a lot easier route, but there's a lot of lessons that are not learned whenever you get and boy, people can expose themselves in a risky scenario without some consult or some advisory kind of connection. So, do you know of any organizations that are helping these startups out there?
I mean, every city has a
yeah, absolutely,
one or two of those groups that are doing it. Mm-hmm. Quality varies. I personally I have a few things that have saved me. To be honest, like I went through a pretty dark period about 4 or 5 months after I started working for myself. And so what really helped me was I was in San Francisco at the time, making time to meet up with people that have done it before. So other like marketplace founders that had exited or whatever,
sure.
Reaching out to mentors. So I have a couple of just fantastic mentors and people that I look up to. Chris Lemon in the WordPress space, Dan Martell, who's built some marketplaces, Andy Drish, co-founder of the foundation.
Very cool.
So people like that I really respect. And then honestly, I've gotten involved in some really good Slack and Facebook groups. Like a SaaS mastermind with half of us are in the States, a couple in the UK, and a couple in Eastern Europe. That's been great because we're all kind of in the same place. Some have exited businesses, others haven't. And then there's a Slack group called Online Geniuses, which has been really good. It's about a 7,000 person group, but there are some that are just like some people that are really active there, and it's been really good to be able to connect with people like that and, take some of those like conversations offline. And that's been really, really cool. So yeah, there are definitely those available. But I would also tell people like, be sure you're getting out and interacting with people like in person for sure. We have a group here in Denver that meets up, like SEOs and online marketers, meets up the second Thursday of every month. We call it SEO beers. We go to a bar, whether Union Station or another like outdoor place when it's nice in the summer. And we just hang out.
That's fantastic.
That's so cool.
Yeah. SEOs do need to get out more. You know that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I really do. Hey, I do want to drop a couple quick, neat, fun facts about John here. Your first job was 11 years old cleaning horse stalls.
Yep.
That is fantastic. $1 a stall. Wow. That's awesome.
I was 11. It was 1995. It was when Seinfeld came out.
Yeah, there you go. But that's fantastic because that certainly teaches them discipline. This one I'm really, really interested in. You're also an Eagle Scout. I am. Yeah.
Hey, became an Eagle Scout young. I'm not going to comment on the happenings yesterday. That's been a huge, Boy Scouts had a huge impact on my life and really set me up for success. I owe a lot to Boy Scouts of America.
That's what I was going to ask you is, do you attribute some of your success to the accomplishments in your Eagle Scout program?
Absolutely. Fantastic. And it's got me out of a lot of speeding tickets too. So
that's a good thing because I got a 17-year-old who's going after his Eagle in the next 3 months.
Yeah.
And I also have a 10-year-old who's Weeb 2 and a 6-year-old who's a Tiger.
Very cool.
So hopefully I'm going to have a few Eagles on when it comes out of it.
Tell your son to put his Eagle Scout card in front of his driver's license. So when he pulls over, you can go like Eagle Scout card, driver's license. most cops are Eagle Scouts. You probably hear my dog barking. Sorry about that.
I don't think the dog liked that.
No. He doesn't like the male woman.
Very cool. Well, I appreciate. I just wanted to make sure that we touched on that because it's always great to be able to talk to an Eagle Scout because it is absolutely a great program to be able to raise and build character amongst our boys. Fantastic there. Is there anything that we could promote for you to wrap up today?
I think the biggest things are, so I have a weekly newsletter that I personally send out from my personal website, johnfdoherty.com. You can sign up for it there in the right sidebar. Basically, I round up all the content that I've read that week. And, you know, it's entrepreneurship, product growth. Of course, I put in my own stuff there. I always share an Instagram photo from the previous week, you know, there within it. So that's one thing. Sign up for that. I love doing that. And then check out getcredo.com, obviously. If you're interested in becoming a pro, an agency or consultant on there, getcredo.com/pros, PROS, get you started. And if you're a business looking for help, come and, click on find a marketer and we'll get you to the right place. So yeah. And then finally check out, we talked about the top of the hour, but digital marketing, the 2017 digital marketing industry pricing survey results. Just search digital marketing industry pricing and it will come up number one.
Very cool.
About 8 or 9 pages of that. Yep, there it is. About 8 or 9 pages on there, just digging deep into those discoveries. So, you know, whether you're an agency or consultant or someone looking to hire one, it should be valuable to you. And find me on Twitter at DohertyJF and Credo at GetCredo. That's the best place to get in touch.
He did my job for me.
Here we go.
Hey.
Yeah. Fantastic. We'll have all the contact points on the show notes of the show posting. Thank you very much, John. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, and congratulations on 2 years of success. Do this job, man, because you certainly are bringing a lot of valuable insight into the gig economy, and you're helping companies find marketing firms that are passing muster, because there's a lot of less than noble practitioners out there, and you're doing the right thing by helping them clean up their act and showcase them some really good companies out there. So I mean, kudos to you for doing that, because it is desperately needed in this marketing space.
I appreciate that, guys. Aaron and Tom, it's been an absolute pleasure to be here with you. So thank you for having me.
You're more than welcome. Okay. So thanks, John. And remember, sharing is caring. So be sure to share the show out to all of your friends, as well as all the marketing firms that you represent. Thanks for listening to Edge of the Web Radio.com. Special thank you to my colleagues at Site Strategics for our production, as well as our guest, John Doherty. Make sure you check out all the must-see videos over at edgeofthewebradio.com. That's edgeofthewebradio.com. And check out all the insider information at that site, as well as joining the newsletter. Be sure to check out some of the award winners over at the Content Marketing Institute as well, the CMA Awards 2017, because there's some great quality producers out there. So check all that out and see all the stuff at our website. And next week, who we have on next week?
Oh, you put me on the spot. Oh, I don't know.
Oh my gosh!
But it's a great person.
It is a great person. No worries. We'll talk to you next week with another great person. So don't be a piece of cyber driftwood. Bye bye.